About This Love.
How you guys doing today? You tuned into About This Love podcast with your host Dylan Charel, coming all the way from Baltimore, Maryland. Be more, where you can be more.
We don't say that up here. We don't say that, y'all, up here in Maryland and Maryland. So
But on today's podcast, we actually wanted to do a podcast series, a 4 to 5 part series titled "Intentional Dating That Leads to Marriage," and mainly because one of the things that we've always kind of mentioned on our podcast is that the reason why we started our podcast, years ago, was for marriage and relationship, and wanting to see these things prosper. I feel like that's one of the graces that God gave me and Charel. And so lately, me and Charel, we both have been just on different TikTok lives because we had wanted to go live on TikTok on behalf of our own podcast. So if you guys don't already follow us on TikTok, we'll leave those things in the description down below on this YouTube video, or if you're listening to us on a podcast app, come to YouTube so you can grab those links. But we've been on we've been on TikTok live DJing and things like that. But one of the things that we've been doing on TikTok lives is we've been kind of going to different ones, seeing how people run them or how they function, so that when we do our own, we'll know how to do it as well. But one of the things that I've heard, being in many different TikTok groups, just relationships, and I'm even in some Christian TikTok groups where they're talking about relationships and things to that nature. But one of the things that it kind of made me realize as I listened to a lot of different people talking in some of these groups, Christian groups, is that people don't really understand in today's times how to date, and really how to date with intentionality, have boundaries, and just not be moved or deterred by other people's standards or lack of standards. You know what I'm saying? And also, unfortunately, a lot of people who say that they are believers, they're not really moving like believers. They're moving like people who are very worldly. And it's very unfortunate because, for me and my wife, when we started dating, we were very intentional. I will say I was probably further along than what she was, but I felt like because we were intentional, it dictated how we moved. Like, I was celibate when we started dating, and even when until the time we got married. But I think for the most part, because I was celibate, certain things I just didn't do. I didn't go inside of young ladies' homes. I didn't allow them to come inside my home, and I did that so that in under any circumstances I wouldn't be tempted to fall short. And I felt like I was celibate. I didn't tell. I don't think I ever told you I was celibate. I didn't feel the need to beat my chest. Hey, I'm celibate. But I felt like oftentimes in today's dating world, people just they talk too much. And what I mean by that is that if you're moving a certain way, or if you have certain boundaries, I don't need to tell you that. I don't need to tell the person that, especially I'll say on the first few dates, like you
so
really you're doing too much, and you might come off as a weirdo. You think?
um
I'm just saying, like, I feel like oftentimes in today's culture, I feel like as an American, we'll mask that in confidence. Really, it's just arrogance. Like, again, if I move a certain way, like, you ever been around somebody, they move a certain way, but the thing that you do don't dictate how they still move and operate, and it's like you're like, yo, that cat different. Something different about that cat. It's like, yeah, he or she may have a certain standard or things that they don't do in their life, but it's like they don't beat their chest and tell you what it is. That they live it before you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, at first I was like, "What you mean?" But, yeah, thank you for explaining that, yeah. I no, because I was about to ask, I don't know what you're talking about. I was about to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you know
I
me.
I don't know what you're talking about, but no, you're right. I've met a few different people, believers and non-believers, where you're just like, man, they're special, they're different, and you wanna figure out what it is or befriend them. I've befriended a few people because of that. Like, in my younger years, I'm like, "Wow, she's so positive," or "She's so, like, bright and lighthearted and stuff, and I wanna be her friend. Her life is probably so great." It wasn't great, though. Her life was not great, but she still, like, kept that, like, that bubbly personality.
Willingness, yeah.
Yeah, she kept that bubbly personality, so I mean, I do get what you're saying. I wanted to take a step back though, because you actually said a lot in that intro.
I was just saying some things that I wanted us to talk about over the course of this 4 or 5 part series. That's really like I said a whole lot. I intend for this episode to be long. I just wanted it to let the listeners or the viewers know that our reasoning or heart behind wanting to do this episode, this specific topic, intentional dating
Oh,
lead
sorry.
to marriage. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I got that. I totally understood that. Yeah, no, I understood that for sure. And I'm not saying anything was wrong with it because we definitely, like, I feel like the Lord had put that on your heart for us to, like, really talk about, because we've seen our peer group, which are millennials, kind of struggling with the idea of, I guess, intentionally dating or dating to the point of marriage. And, that kind of is heartbreaking, in a sense, because it's like, man, we're married. We know couples who have been married, or, I mean, with me working, I've met a lot of couples our age that are married and unmarried. And
Who are marrying and who also got divorced.
and ones who have also gotten a divorce, and you just kind of, like, your heart breaks a little bit for those who are, either struggling in marriage, or wanting to, like, having that desire to be married, but it still hadn't happened yet. And it's, when you think about it, it's like, well, just do what I did. Like, you want to almost be like, this is exactly what I did. Just do that for a few months and let's see where the Lord has you. But then it's like, there's no, like, one way or route to, like, take, because everyone's different.
I
But
I think that's true, but I think that attempting to do some the way someone else did it can be a foundation that may start you off on the right footing. You may
yeah, for
you may
sure.
end up pivoting and not doing everything that they did, but it's like because I was thinking about it was, you when you said when you started talking about thinking about marriage, you watching this Christian couple on YouTube.
That's who
It's
I
like
just thought
you
about.
didn't
Yeah.
do everything that they did. You may have at first tried to, but then you realize I'm not him. I mean, I'm not her. He's not him. So you kind of pivot, but trying to do things the way that they did is what gave you the foundation to start. And I feel like even if
Mhm.
like do what we did, yes or no, do what we did. Take some of the things that you can apply to your life, and some of the things that you can't don't. But I feel like the setting the boundaries, being intentional,
Yeah.
um, really having a positive mind, like being watchful about what you watch on YouTube or social media. Like my wife would tell you, and I was this way before I met my wife, and I got this way a couple years before I met you, but I was like, I don't invite too much negativity into my mind. Like
Yeah.
my wife would tell you, earlier last year, well, not early last year, but last year we had some family members staying with us, and I don't think they were intending to be malicious by always. I don't want to say being negative, but always pointing out negative things.
Mhm.
But it's like to me, I was like, I don't really like I don't really want to hear that stuff every day. Like I'm not oblivious to the fact that people are dying. People, people unfortunately get cancer and pass away, or people have hardship in paying bills. I'm not oblivious to that stuff, but
Mhm.
I don't spend my time focusing on that stuff. Like we was talking earlier, my wife, and I was just saying how a lot of the Kevin Samuels and the red pill stuff, about 95% of that stuff I don't really agree with. But in some of the stuff that they're saying, there's some truth to what they're saying. There's an element of truth to it. But even then, I don't really feed into that stuff too much because again, if you watch anything for too long that's not positive, it's gonna affect how you think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in today's world, their minds are just so warped. It's like I was watching right before we jump on the podcast. I was watching a video of I guess a guy who used to be a rapper, but he came to Christ,
Mhm.
and somebody was interviewing him. He was like, I can't listen to rap music anymore. He was like, why? He was like, because he was like, I would be cleaning up my house or just doing something around the yard, and the rap lyrics would be coming to my mind. He was like, I realized that stuff is like it's influential. It gets burned in your mind. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if I sit around all day watching dudes say all women ain't no good, all they want is your money, don't get married. If you got to get married, get a prenup. Like, why is what they're saying true? I mean, some of it, a smither of it is true. Yes, but 5% of that drink is probably true. The other 95% is all garbage. So it's like I can't even entertain the 5% because it's all garbage. Or all dudes I'm a boss chick, yeah, it's like none of that stuff is conducive to marriage, dating leading to marriage. None of that stuff is conducive to that. None of it is. It's all
Mhm.
it's all destructive. It's all divisive in its own way. But people sit and they consume it all day long, every day. But like, yo, I want to get married, yo. You like, you want to get married to
Yeah,
who?
they're
To a
meditating.
man? Like if you're a dude, like you want to get married to a man in the red pill? Like you don't want to get married to nobody? Like um I have a buddy of mine who consumes this stuff, and I'll be like, I'm like, yo, man, like, yo, I want to get married. I'll say, so you gonna end up with a man? He just look at me like crazy. I'm like, yo, if you don't want if you're digesting this stuff every day, all day, and you're telling me that you don't want to get married, you don't want to be in a relationship, what is the alternative?
Well,
That you marry a man?
well,
I mean, I'm being
and
sarcastic.
listen, and some people go in that direction because of that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
They
being
do,
sarcastic. Yeah,
but I get it.
'cause
It's almost like you're not even gonna get what you want if
your mind's not in the right in the right condition.
yeah.
It was I went on that whole rant, but I'm sorry if I lost you guys in translation. My whole point in saying all of that was that like you got to just watch what you put in your mind.
Yeah, you
You got to
meditate
watch what
on
you put in your
that.
mind.
Yeah.
That was my whole point. You know.
No, and I understood that. I definitely did because you know how I don't watch like scary movies or if it's a little too bloody gory before
Yeah.
going to sleep or if at all really. Because I'm just like, no, that'll the way my mind works, it'll come up and then all of a sudden I'll move very fearfully and you'll be like, well, why are you doing that now? And it's like, oh well, I don't know. But then I just sat for 2 hours and watched like a slasher film or something. And knowing that like for somebody like me, it'll just be burned in my head, like, I have
Yeah.
dreams about it, and it'll be crazy, but
I'm the opposite. I watch that stuff and go sleep. Like
I don't I
the opposite.
that's on you. I'll be awake and, be like, "What's that noise?" or "What's that?" And,
Yeah.
but I do get what you're saying. You meditate on those things. That's something that I felt like I had to do. I know that we are gonna take the time, not this episode, but, take time to actually talk about what we went through, but I wanna go back to when you were saying how I watched online and I had consumed this one couple who actually shared their journey
You
online.
yeah, you became what you attempted or you became what you wanted.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I never intended on being exactly them. I never wanted exactly them. I think I was more so encouraged because, by their faith in the weight, their faith in God, that they'll bring they'll be brought together. And because of their faith, it actually encouraged me to despite what other people were telling me, because you got to think like at the time, and I've mentioned this on previous podcast episodes, but at the time there was older women, like people I looked up to, listened to, because that was very hard for me to distinguish between, are they well meaning or do they really like mean this? Is this what I have to look forward to? And I think like as younger women who are, we're more pliable. We are when it comes to what someone tells us. I mean, and I feel like I was very strong-willed and strong-minded even back then. But I still was open because I'm like, okay, well, I mean, they are older. They are my elders. A lot of them are saying it, so it must be true.
What were they saying?
They were saying things like, "Well, you should just date around a while," or, "You got time to get married. Why get married so young?" And, not once did I stop to think, were they married young? What generation are they coming from? Why are they saying it? Because then
Yeah,
maybe I could have formed a better opinion about it.
assessment, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I even had someone close to me tell me that I'm not the type to be married because I had a child already, outside of marriage, and also like that's for somebody else who just is more polished, like is more pristine.
But who created these rules though?
But exactly. So it's like you get other people telling you those things. That starts to form your self-worth. And I had said before in a conversation how I had a convo with a good friend of mine where they were talking about self-worth. And it came down to the point where we were like, well, where do you get that from? Where do you get your self-worth, your self-esteem? Who builds that up? And I would say the good Christian thing would be like, oh, God does that. And I'm empowered by the Lord and I'm built up by the Lord and I know who I am in the Lord. But it's almost like, you
Need
know,
people too.
yeah, you need people. The Lord puts us and others um in this earth to be that representative of him in the flesh. And I mean, we've seen that on so many different accounts
Yeah,
where I'm just like, I needed that. Like the couple, they are the Lord's representation in the flesh
and
of marriage.
and that's kind of what I wanted to say too on that. I mean, because you off when it's
Mhm,
like you ask, well, how would I be able to see that? And I
mhm.
think that what I would say to anybody is your first thought is you started by clicking on this video. You know, we're gonna talk about our life, how we did it, how we got married in our mid 20s, and just the different experiences that we had. But I think that it starts by you looking up whatever it is that you want to become. Like one of the things that I've done throughout my whole marriage, like even me and my wife, we went on a for our anniversary, yeah, because I was telling you about the timeshare. But one of the things that I did was we were having some issues with conflict around that time. So I actually
Conflict
yeah,
resolution.
resolution. So I
Got
actually went online and I would YouTube conflict resolution, how to do that. And there was this guy who I think he's a Christian, but he was like one of the things that he said, and this is my point. One of the things that he said is that like in conflict resolution,
Excuse me.
when your spouse or partner shares their heart, you don't invalidate what they're saying. It's like my whole point in saying it is that like you know how to if you want to make a pie or a cake, you know how to go and look that stuff up, right? Start by filling your mind with positive things. Start by filling your mind with like how to be in a relationship, how you should carry yourself, how to be a godly man, what a godly woman does. You'll see people all on YouTube who are believers who can walk you through it. So it's like nowadays, it's like I can understand you not knowing how to do something or you not having the physical representation. That's understandable. But you can't if you want to know how to make a cake or make a pie, you know where to go to. So I feel
Yeah.
like we have tools, and instead of using these tools for something that can be destructive, use them for something that can be constructive and build you up. I think that's I mean that's what we do. Like I watch videos like I remember I used to watch TED Talk on I used to watch TED Talk on there was a woman also a doctor, but she was it was she was a sexologist, and actually one of my cousins is a sexologist. But one of the things that she would say is she said that she would counsel couples about intimacy, and one of the things that she had to help men understand is that for women it's all mental first. And I was like, wow. And I used to spend stuff watching stuff for hours. Like she wasn't like raunchy or provocative, but she was saying. But I was like, I was a man who was newly married, and this stuff was very helpful to me. But it's like there's tools that you can go and get if you need help to navigate in the avenue. Like sometimes you set up. Sometimes you have to step outside of what you would do or how you would do things
Mhm.
because maybe the way you would do things aren't really the best way or how you would do something isn't really a, a good way to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay because sometimes you just don't know.
But you know what? I would take it a step further. And yes, because it's funny, I was kind of laughing to myself because I'm like, what you're saying is, well, since y'all on the internet looking up stuff anyways, you might as well look up, people
Constructive, yeah.
who are
Positive.
like doing it. Well, you say positive, but that's what's what I'm looking for?
Subjective?
That's subjective of what they think positive is, what a person may think. Because what I think is positive, you may be like, "Oh, that's whack." I
So
mean,
bashing somebody's head in is positive? Somebody
okay,
twerking online is positive?
that's overtly like, in the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
absolutely.
But
But
I'm
if you a
just saying,
killer, it can
no,
be positive.
no, no.
Just saying, if you a
You
killer, it can be positive.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Dale. Stop playing with me. But I would
Yeah.
I would honestly say, like, get in your Bible, get in your word.
Yeah.
Like, I would say be prayerful because, the Lord loves you, and I just feel like once I started being intentional with the Lord, my prayers really I started to see it. Not that, the Lord wasn't blessing me before and things like that, but I really started to see some things kinda play out once I started to, like, really look for the Lord to show up. I
Yeah.
mean, it was getting really to the T on some things, some of my requests to the Lord, not financially either. I mean, I just, I would say, like, you mentioned getting a community, having a community. So I didn't even know to pray for a community because that's the other thing. We don't know when you don't know how to do it, you actually don't know what to look for. You don't know what you're looking for. And it kind of goes back to who is like giving us, or, we are shaping our self-worth or whatever. We are shaping our idea of marriage by other people's idea of marriage.
Yeah.
And so by going online, like, you're still doing those things, and it still might be like certain personal things that are missing when you do that. I'm not saying it's totally missing, but I think you still miss it. And honestly, like, you get the highlight reel because I know one thing about you. When I first met you, you didn't like that whole generalized advice, marriage advice. You didn't. And not when I met you, when we got married. You didn't like the generalized advice.
Well, but that was because I came from a community that was very specific. So
Well,
but for somebody,
personable.
yeah, but for somebody else, that may be different.
But hear me out, but for somebody like me, I didn't have that. So, I had people online, but
That's fine.
I also had a good friend, and, she didn't even get personable with me, but she did push me enough to the point where I started to say, "Hey, wait, like, what are we doing? I don't really, I don't really think this the Lord, so what now?"
Yeah.
And so I think that the Lord heard my prayer, or at least my heart's prayer. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic, but heard my heart's prayer. Things that I didn't think to ask for. I didn't think to really ask her. She kind of came in and seen I was excited about somebody who I thought was a believer, and from there she was like, "Hey, you need to ask. You need to inquire." And so I think I agree with you. Definitely look it up, but also I would ask the Lord to bring people in so you could actually see it in action.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the things I just thought about with what you said is that, like, what I'm saying, or what I said is just, it's a supplement. It's just a supplement, and the supplement, it isn't enough. It's not going to sustain you, And what she's saying is more personable, meaning somebody that you can have one on one and ask questions to, and help kind of give you a good advice or a good sound judgment, or help you vet an individual, a young woman or young man. I think that's kind of really, what we kind of will talk about on our next episode, intentional dating that leads to marriage. So thank you for just listening on this episode. Thank you for clicking on the audio or the video if you're on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You have anything to say before we end?
No, I don't. I agree with you. Thank you. We're going to be fleshing these things out some more throughout the
Yeah.
different series. So definitely tune in, share it if this has blessed you, or if you know someone who will be blessed by this conversation. And until next time.
And before we end, if you have anything that you want to ask us, don't be afraid to hit us up on this YouTube video, or on our TikTok. You know what I'm saying? And the ego with your ending. Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Anything they want to ask us?
I mean, about, we may touch on something in these videos that they may want to ask, or
Oh yeah, we can
but
go more in
yeah,
depth. Yeah, for sure. Submit your questions like in the comment section. If you're listening to this audio on a podcast streaming platform, then for sure. I don't know. We have a Facebook page. You could also submit your questions on our Facebook or one of our social
yeah,
medias. We'll see it. But yeah, until next time. Now we're doing it.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Peace.